Welcome to cleveland.com. It's Sports Insider here on cleveland.com. Chris Fedor, I'm your host today, and we've got a jam-packed show for the next 30 minutes. If you want to, you can follow me on Twitter at Chris Fedor. Also, if you have any questions, any comments throughout the show, go to the comment section at the bottom of the post. We will be joined by Cleveland Gladiators quarterback Shane Austin as the Glads getting ready for the Arena Bowl on August 23rd. Also, Paul Hoynes from cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer, our Tribe beat reporter. He'll join us to talk about this latest homestand for the Indians as they are 5.5 games out of the AL Central, now trailing Kansas City as opposed to Detroit. But right now, we're joined by Mary Kay Cabot, Browns beat reporter for cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer, as the Browns getting ready for their second preseason game. It's Monday night against the Washington Redskins. Mary Kay, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
So before we get into the second preseason game, before we get into Rex Grossman being signed, just take me through the latest when it comes to Josh Gordon. He hasn't been practicing because he's got a minor ding, but Jimmy Haslam had a brief conversation with him yesterday. You have something on cleveland.com about the Browns building up a support system. When do we expect to hear something on the ruling for Josh Gordon?
Well, it can come any day now, and nobody really has any idea, even the Browns, when that will be. They might get, a couple of hours at advance notice before an announcement is made, but that would be about it, because, this is just up to Harold Henderson right now, and he can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants with it. Now, Richard Sherman, when he won his appeal on a performance-enhancing drugs in 2012, that took about 2.5 weeks from the end of the hearing till the decision was handed down. So, I've been estimating, a source said to estimate about 1 to 3 weeks. So that would be from this past Monday out another 2 weeks. So, so we can hear anything pretty much any day.
We try and read into things all the time, Mary Kay. That's what we do. Josh Gordon at times have been running with the ones. He's been running with the twos at times, running with the threes. Has anything happened here in the last week or so for Browns fans to believe that maybe Josh Gordon's not going to get the full season suspension?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that there are any signs or clues about anything like that. And the truth of the matter is the Browns really don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they are bracing themselves for some kind of a suspension. I don't think anybody thinks that he's going to get away with nothing. So they're bracing themselves for something. I think they're hoping against hope that it would be only maybe like 8 games. But, there is a chance that it could be that indefinite ban, which there is a distinction between that and a 4-year suspension. A 4-year suspension would mean you serve your time and you come back next year. That's not what an indefinite ban is. An indefinite ban means you are gone, you are kicked out of the league, you are no longer a member of the Browns or the NFL for the time that you are gone. 1 year later, you knock on Roger Goodell's door and you say, can I get back into this league? And if you have been clean throughout that period, then you have an opportunity to get back in. But if he gets kicked out, it's going to be difficult, I think, for him to make it back, but absolutely not impossible, but it probably wouldn't be easy.
Mary Kay, what are the Browns doing to prepare for life without Josh Gordon?
Well, first of all, they are setting up plans and helping him stay on the straight and narrow if he does get suspended or kicked out of the league. They're working hard on that, and I think you have to applaud them for that. This is a young man that has gotten in trouble even 2 more times after the suspension came to light, and yet they're still sticking by him. So, I give them kudos for that because they understand that this is a disease sometimes, and we don't know for sure if it's a disease in Josh Gordon's case, but often it can be just that the player needs help. And so they are trying everything that they can to make sure that Josh has the support system that he needs. And I just think that's great. I mean, it's great to see Jimmy Haslam out there talking to him on the field. One day they kind of embrace, so you can see that Josh knows that he has the support of the Browns, not just the ownership, but his teammates. So I think that will help him in the event that he does get kicked out of the NFL. Now, there's a chance he could also get suspended for a shorter period of time in the event that he gets, let's say, 8 games. If that happens, Harold Henderson can decide that Josh can still be around the team. And that would be a good thing for him. He could still go to meetings, still be a part of things, and I think having some of that structure would help him. So everybody's just kind of waiting to see what happens. But life after Josh Gordon on the field, I don't think it's actually going very well, to be honest with you. They've got injured guys. Nate Burleson is injured with a hamstring. Some of the other guys, I don't think have really completely stepped up yet in the way that they need to. I think they need another receiver from somewhere. I'm not sure where they're going to get one or two more receivers. I'm sure they're going to be scouring that waiver wire over the next couple of weeks. They'll be looking to make trades. I think they'll be doing anything that they can to upgrade the position.
Mary Kay, obviously the Browns have a decision to make on quarterback. The competition continues between Brian Hoyer and Johnny-Manziel. Let's say Josh Gordon is going to miss some time, whether it's 8 games, 16 games, whatever it is. Do you think the Browns' decision at quarterback will be impacted at all by what comes down from the NFL related to Josh Gordon?
I don't think so. I think they're going to look at, and I know that people have said, hey, maybe you need more of a playmaker in a Johnny-Manziel if Josh Gordon's going to be gone. But I don't think they will really put too much weight on that. I think they're just going to look at these two quarterbacks and try to decide who gives you the best chance to win, whether you're using your arm and mostly standing in the pocket and rolling out occasionally, or if you can pull it in and run around with your feet. I think they're just going to look at the two quarterbacks in and of themselves and say, who will help us win football games? Who has the best chance of going out there and doing that? And one thing that I looked very closely at this week, and I haven't really kind of illuminated it yet in a sort of a separate little story or post, but I will be doing that, is Coach Mike Pettin said something very interesting during a press conference the other day when he was talking about Rex Grossman being here. And he said, you can't really apply the veteran label to Brian Hoyer. In terms of the amount of snaps that he's had, he is more like a rookie. And I thought that was very telling, because you're not comparing a seasoned veteran to Johnny-Manziel. In their minds, that will loom large in the decision. They're comparing someone who almost has a rookie amount of starts to an actual rookie.
Again, Mary Kay, when it comes to reading signs, you mentioned it, Rex Grossman was signed, Tyler Thigpen let go. What does that signing indicate to you?
Well, first of all, I guess Tyler Thigpen just didn't work out as well as they had hoped. So that's one of the major reasons that they made this move. You just could see in the game and in practices it wasn't going as well as they needed to. And then Rex Grossman brings that mentorship that, hey, I can show you the nuances of this offense. I can get out there and teach you guys a little bit, not just Johnny, but Brian Hoyer as well. And I think they needed that. I think they needed somebody to come in and show the way. Now, they've got a sort of a fierce competition, in the words of Dante Whitner, going on between Brian Hoyer and Johnny-Manziel. So Johnny's not going to be able to sit there and pick Brian Hoyer's brain. And when he does, Brian doesn't know this offense inside and out the way that a Rex Grossman does. He's still learning it himself. So this is somebody that's almost a coach on the field, and it will be good for both guys.
Does it mean at all that Brian's expendable?
Well, coach has said absolutely not. But right now I don't think that's the case at all. But if they make the decision that Johnny-Manziel is their starter for the season and they still have, Rex Grossman available to them, and somebody comes a-calling with an offer that they can't refuse, well, there's a price on everyone. And he is in the last year of his contract, and if he has an opportunity to go somewhere and maybe even start him, first you have to see what kind of injuries happen over the next couple of weeks for other teams. And if still needs a starting quarterback and Johnny-Manziel is going to win the Browns job, well, then that changes the game too. So anything can still happen, but that's not the intent right now. The intent for them is not to have Brian Hoyer gone.
Browns have the day off today. They'll get back to work. Training camp continues tomorrow and on Saturday. Second preseason game Monday night in Washington against the Redskins. Mary Kay, Mike Pettin said the other day that he's going to take today, the day off, to kind of look at things when it comes to the quarterback situation and decide who his starting quarterback is going to be for preseason game number 2 against Washington. Game number 1 against Detroit, it was Brian Hoyer. Do you expect it to be Manziel Monday night?
You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say yes. Okay. Because I think if you really are going to make a determination on who your starting quarterback is going to be after this game, I think you need to compare a start to a start. I think you need to give Johnny a start if you're going to say, okay, he's going to start the season for us. You know, I just can't imagine that you would want to name your starter for the season without seeing him start a football game. Now, again, Mike Pettin says that's overrated. You know what? They're both going to get equal reps with the first team, so we don't need to see him actually start the game. And maybe they want to keep the Johnny frenzy from growing too crazy, and and have everyone think that he is now the starter before they actually get to making that decision. But so in that case, they could still think about starting Brian. But I think that they should start Johnny in this game, throw him in there on the national stage, and see what he can do right from the start, and then go make your decision.
Mary Kay, it's funny, when it first came down, it was May 9th when the first report about Josh Gordon potentially missing the year came down. A lot of people started turning their attention to some other wide receivers that maybe the Browns could go after. The first name was Andre Johnson, and here we are again. It's August, and that name continues to come up when it comes to the Browns. Do you think the Browns have any interest in Andre Johnson, and do you think Houston has any interest in moving him?
Well, you know what? If he wasn't almost, or 33 years old or whatever, he was 32 or 33 years old and set to make, I don't have the exact number in front of me right now, but it is an outrageous amount of money over the next couple of years. Now, would they want Andre Johnson if he cost, $4 or $5 million? Sure. I'm sure that they would be interested at that price, but at the salary that Andre Johnson makes right now, it's prohibitive. I cannot see it. I would be absolutely shocked if anything like that happens. And Ray Farmer even told, in 90 to the Fan sometime, I think it was in May, hey, look, he's almost as old as me, and he kind of really downplayed any possible interest. So right now, I'm going to say no on that.
You've seen a scrimmage. You've seen preseason game number 1. You've seen a lot of practices too, Mary Kay. Based on what you've seen so far, what is the biggest position of strength for the Browns?
Biggest position of strength right now, there's a couple that I think would be good, but I'm actually going to say cornerback right now. When I look out there and I see Justin Gilbert, a healthy Justin Gilbert, and Joe Hayden and Buster Screen, that looks really good to me. So, yeah, I would go on the defensive side with that. And for me, I think the jury is still out a little bit in terms of which of these pass rushers are going to step up. I've got to see Paul Kruger, Barkevius Mingo, and Jabal Sheard get to the quarterback a little bit in games before I can say that's going to be a strength. But I do see the cornerbacks, the defensive backs, breaking up passes and getting interceptions all the time, and I think that's going to be a strength.
All right, Mary Kay Cabot, Browns beat reporter for cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. Thanks so much for joining me today, Mary Kay.
Thank you.
Again, Browns have the day off, but check out cleveland.com/Browns. All of Mary Kay's coverage, all of Tom Reed's coverage. Dan Lobby's been at training camp. Training camp will resume tomorrow. Second preseason game Monday night against the Washington Redskins. And again, Mike Pettin still has not named the starter for that game. Brian Hoyer got the start in week 1 against Detroit. He said that he wants to name a starter today during the day off after he explores some options. He also said something along the lines of both guys are going to get reps with the first team. So keep it locked right here, cleveland.com, for all the latest on the Browns. Coming up, we'll chat with Paul Hoynes, Indians beat reporter. Indians had a doubleheader yesterday against the Arizona Diamondbacks. They'll have the day off today, and they'll get a weekend series underway against the Baltimore Orioles. And it's a 5-game mini homestand here for the Tribe. And Hoynesy will get us all set for what's going on this weekend against Baltimore. Also, the latest on the injury to Nick Swisher, David Murphy. Some young guys have been called up. So all that coming up in about 10 minutes with Paul Hoynes from cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. And also, we are scheduled to chat with Cleveland Gladiators quarterback Shane Austin. Now, this is an interesting story when it comes to Austin. It's an interesting story when it comes to the Gladiators. This is a team who Went 19-1. They've got one loss on the season. Now they're on their way to the Arena Bowl August 23rd against Arizona. And Shane Austin, the quarterback for the Gladiators, joins us right now. What's going on, Shane?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, thanks so much for joining me today. I know you've got a little bit of time here, 9 days until the Arena Bowl. Have you started the countdown already, getting ready for what's the biggest game of your life yet?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're just, this week has kind of been a little bit of more relaxed, get your body recovered and stuff, and then we'll be getting back in the meeting room tomorrow and really try to dissect Arizona's defense, and we'll be really getting going coming into the end of this week and then start of next week.
The Arena Bowl, August 23rd, it is against Arizona, as Shane just told you right there. And Shane, for you, you weren't the guy last year. You weren't the guy at the beginning of this year, and now here you are, about to play in the Arena Bowl. You're an MVP candidate. What was the key for you to get to this point?
Really just not only preparing myself physically, as I do every year and every off season, but really trying to prepare myself mentally and to have that mindset to be the starter, regardless of whether I'm the backup or the actual starter. I've always gone into every game prepared my mind as if I'm the starter. That way I'm ready to go. If I get my name called, you're only one play away from going in. You're ready to go, and hopefully the offense doesn't lose a beat when you come in. So I've always had that mindset, even throughout college, being the number 2 quarterback and all that. So I've always had that mindset, that mentality, so I can stay mentally focused and mentally strong. And really, because when that opportunity presents itself, you got to be ready for it. And you got to run away with it. And I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity early in the season, and tried not to look back since.
Shane, you guys have 6 last-second wins, only 1 loss on the season. At what point did you believe, hey, man, something special is brewing here in Cleveland with the Gladiators?
I mean, we knew it in camp that this was a special team. Maybe we didn't know that we'd have so many dramatic finishes, but we knew in camp just the camaraderie and the chemistry that this team had. These guys, we all gelled together right from the bat. There was nobody really who had any negative, atmosphere bringing into the team. Everybody, fit the puzzle right in what we're all trying to do. So we knew we had a special team that we could put it all together. It was just a matter of preparing ourselves for those moments and those opportunities, and keeping a level head. And I think that's been the key to our success, is that we all can count on each other, because we're such a tight-knit team that when the pressure's on the line, we can kind of take it with the confidence that we know we can make the plays, and we try to put the pressure on the other team to stop us.
For anybody that follows Arena League action, Shane, they know that it's all about offense, it's all about scoring. You see crazy stats, you look at your stats, Shane, and they're just off the charts, but you guys have that formidable defense. How much has it helped you personally getting to play against that defense in practice, knowing that that's probably the best defense that you're going to see?
Oh, it definitely makes a difference. I mean, like I said, even starting in camp, we had such a challenge offensively to try to beat our defense, because our defense is so, well trained. We got a bunch of vets on our defense, and they're a great group of guys, and we wouldn't get this far if we just had a one-dimensional team.
Mm-hmm.
If we just had a good offense, if just had a strong defense. When we struggle as an offense, we know that our defense can pick us up, and vice versa. And that helps, having that confidence that we can rely on the rest of the guys on this team to get the job done.
Shane Austin, our guest, Cleveland Gladiators quarterback. They're getting ready for the Arena Bowl on August 23rd against Arizona. Shane, people are calling you Stone Cold Shane Austin. Do you like that nickname? Were you a wrestling fan growing up?
I never really was much of a wrestling fan. I mean, obviously I know the name, and I've been called a few different nicknames. I wouldn't say. I don't hate it. I wouldn't say that it really fits my personality too much. But you know what? If everybody else likes it, then I'm fine with it. But yeah, it's all in good fun.
You guys have one loss on the season. It's against the Pittsburgh Power. There was a chance that you guys would have played the Power last week. Instead, it was the Orlando Predators. Before you knew that you were going to play against Orlando, was there a little part of you, Shane, that wanted another shot at Pittsburgh to avenge that loss?
You know what? I'd be lying if I said there wasn't, because there's definitely a few guys that we wanted to kind of redeem ourselves a little bit against Pittsburgh. We wanted to take it out on them because we know we're a team that could beat them, and that we had beat them twice in the season, and then, we gave up our one loss was to them. So we kind of, since that loss, have always wanted to, we had a feeling that we would play them in the playoffs, and we were kind of looking forward to that. Kind of a little redemption, but it didn't work out that way, and we got Orlando. But really the main goal is to get to the Arena Bowl and win it, and so far that goal is still intact. So that worked out that way.
It's the first round of the playoffs. You're playing against the Philadelphia Soul. It comes down to a kick. Aaron Petrie comes out on the field. Take me through that moment. Where were you? What were you thinking when Petrie was about to line that baby up?
Well, I was on the sideline, and I was just I was hoping that would go through. But I have a lot of faith in the Lord. So I know going into every game in all these situations, I just say, hey, Lord, take over. This is you, and kind of just surrender to that greater power, and just if it happens, if it goes through, it goes through. If it doesn't go through, then it wasn't meant to be. And that kind of, when I have that kind of mindset, it kind of more relaxing, and you can kind of enjoy the moment more than stress out about it. I'm not going to lie. I mean, obviously there was some high stress levels going into that kick and any other situation like that, but glad to see it go through. I actually couldn't tell if it went through at all from my perspective. I just kind of waited for the crowd's reaction. Once the crowd erupted, I knew that it went through, and it ended up going right down the middle, so it was a great kick.
Now, in that game against Philadelphia, it was a lower-scoring game. You personally struggled at times through a few interceptions. The offense at times struggled. What did it take for you to rebound? Did you have to say something to yourself? Did the coaches come up and say something to you? Obviously, you guys didn't have the same kind of experience that Philadelphia did. How were you able to rebound personally in that game? It was a defensive battle. Offensively, we definitely struggled. I mean, it almost felt like a loss based just on our offense. Luckily, our defense got to pick us up. But that I got to admit, that's one of the more challenging things to bounce back from mentally, is to have, so many turnovers on the field that you wish you could have back. But the thing is, you can't just sit there and think about those turnovers. You have to just focus on the game at hand, because at that moment, even though I had thrown, a bunch of turnovers, our offense was struggling, we were still in the game, and it's still a one-score game either way. So you have to just let those go and have a short-term memory, because if you're still thinking about those moments that you wish you could have back, you'll miss that moment right in front of you to, have a great play. And luckily, I'm able to, I've trained myself mentally to be able to bounce back from those things and let it go, and just be able to focus on the play at hand. And we made some plays when it counted. Obviously, I'd like to go back and not have as many turnovers, but that's the way it was. I got to give a lot of credit to Philly's defense. They definitely had our number that night. But, we as a team, we stayed together, and we figured out a way to win. Arena Bowl, August 23rd. It's here in Cleveland at the Q. It's against Arizona. Shane, what does it mean to you guys to be able to host that bowl?
I mean, I think it's huge. It's huge for us, but it's also huge for the city of Cleveland. We play great at home. We have all season. We got a great fan base, great crowd, and it's going to make it tough it's made it tough for the opponent all year long. So I'm excited for the game. I think the Q is going to be rocking. The fans are going to be going wild, and it's going to be a fun atmosphere, and it's going to be great for the entire city of Cleveland, especially with all the games that are going on with the Indians game and the Browns game all at the same time. The whole city is going to be kind of popping.
Shane, best of luck August 23rd against Arizona. Bring home that championship, and thanks so much for joining me today on Sports Insider, bud.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
All right, there he is, Cleveland Gladiators starting quarterback Shane Austin. And again, he wasn't the guy last year for the Gladiators. At the beginning of the season, he wasn't the guy either. He gets his number called, he gets his opportunity, and now he's an MVP candidate, and he is one win away from winning the Arena Bowl and bringing a title here to Cleveland. Again, it's going to be hosted here in Cleveland at the Q August 23rd against the Arizona Rattlers. And the motto all season long for the Gladiators has been 1-0, one game at a time, and now they're one win away from capturing the championship this year. Right now, we're going to be joined by Paul Hoynes, Tribe beat reporter for cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. What's going on, Hoynesy?
How you doing today?
I'm doing great, bud. If you have any questions for Hoynesy, go to the comments section at the bottom of the post. If you have any comments, you can leave those comments at the bottom of the post. You can also follow me on Twitter at Chris Fedor. All right, Hoynesy, a true doubleheader yesterday for the Indians. They split against the Diamondbacks. Now they're going to get ready for the Baltimore Orioles this weekend. It's the final 3 games of this homestand here for the Tribe. How important is this weekend series against Baltimore?
Well, I think, Chris, from here on out, they're at the 120 games. They've got 42 left. And I would think every game is pretty important right now. The Orioles are, a very good club. They've been hot of late. They're leading the AL East. The Indians are going to have their hands full. They've played 4 games this season, and they split those 4 games. So this is going to be a good series. Especially, Kluber going in the first game. It's going to be a good pitching matchup.
All right, when it comes to the Indians, Hoynesy, you mentioned it. It's 120 games, so they've got 42 left in this regular season. They're 5.5 games back of the Royals now, not the Tigers, the Royals in the AL Central. If the Indians are going to make a late season charge similar to what they did last year, what's it going to take for them to do that?
Well, obviously they've got to score a few more runs than they did yesterday, especially in that second game. But, Chris, if you remember last year, the schedule set up perfectly for them. Going into September, they went 21-6 in September. They didn't play a whole lot of teams with winning records. And if you look at the last 42 games, how they break down here, they're going to play 16 games as of today against teams with winning records. That's Baltimore, KC, Detroit, and the rest of the schedule. The 26 other games are going to be against teams with losing records. So, in a way, it is shaping up the same as it did last year. Not as pronounced as last year, but the opportunity is there.
Now, you mentioned some of the things that have to happen. Obviously, offensively, that's been a big key. The starting rotation has been a huge story really all season long, Hoynesy. We came into the year, we kind of felt good about the starting rotation, thinking what was going to be there. But really, it's just been Corey Kluber and a bunch of question marks to this point.
Yeah, it really has. There was some encouragement over this past weekend. With Carlos Carrasco came out of the bullpen and pitched very, very well against the Yankees. Josh Tomlin started the second game yesterday. Went 5 1/3, I believe, and threw only 50 pitches, 5 1/3 scoreless. So that's encouraging. But I think Tomlin's probably, he'll be back in the bullpen. Carrasco has earned another shot. But they really haven't, other than Kluber and Bauer, I guess you can't forget the job Trevor Bauer did yesterday. He was great for 8 innings against his old team. So you see those two, Kluber and Bauer, you might be getting some traction from, and that's a good thing going down the stretch. But the rest of the rotation, you're really, it's been a struggle. I mean, Justin Masterson, their number 1 guy, is gone. Yeah. They traded him. So it's been in and out, up and down. They've got so they've got to get, if they could get 3 guys pitching decently, going down the stretch, that would be a huge plus.
The injuries have been a story all season long too, as well, Hoynesy, and they continue to be a story. Nick Swisher out, no timetable for a return on him. David Murphy, 4 to 5 weeks with an oblique injury. I probably wouldn't have said this at the beginning of the year, Hoynesy, but that David Murphy injury is much bigger in the grand scheme of things compared to Nick Swisher.
Oh, definitely. I think, Swish has really had a tough year, on all phases of the game, offensively, defensively, run production. He lost his job at first base Now he's facing knee surgery. He's going out to Los Angeles on Tuesday to get a second opinion. And Murphy, meanwhile, has been a pretty steady player. He's been a little streaky, but he had the hot start, and he was having a great second half coming out, out of the break. He had the second highest average on the ball club, hitting I believe 340, 348, right around there, him and Jan Gomes. And, that hurt. And defensively, he's a solid guy as well. So now you're going to have to, Francona's going to have to maneuver a little bit. Hopefully they get Michael Bourne back. They said they're going to activate him Friday, so he'll go back to center. Michael Brantley will go to left. But right field is still going to be an adventure. You're going to see, I think you're going to see Rayburn. You're going to see Holt. You're going to see a bunch of people, kind of circulating through there. Chris Dickerson. I knew I'd do that. But, so they've got to fill some holes right now.
Hoynes, thanks so much for joining me. Enjoy the day off today, and I know you'll get back at it tomorrow as the Indians open up their series against the Baltimore Orioles. Thanks, bud.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, there he is, Indians beat reporter Paul Hoynes. Thanks to him for joining us today on Sports Insider. Thanks to Cleveland Gladiators quarterback Shane Austin, again, MVP candidate for your Cleveland Gladiators. They host the Arena Bowl August 23rd in what's a huge night in Cleveland sports. Third preseason game for the Browns. And also that could be the night that the Cavs finish their deal in a trade for Kevin Love. So it could be a huge sports night. But again, the Gladiators August 23rd against the Arizona Rattlers. And also thanks to Mary Kay Cabot, our Browns beat reporter. Browns getting ready for their second preseason game Monday night against the Washington Redskins. Thanks to all of you for joining us in the comments section, leaving those questions, leaving those comments, and we'll talk to you next Thursday as we do every single Thursday here on cleveland.com for Sports Insider.